Planetary Resources 2.0, my future SPAC with Chamath Palihapitiya. I think I said his name pretty close to correct. He's got a difficult last name to pronounce. So I love the work of Peter Diamandis. My company is named Exponentials, not because of him, but he is focused on exponentials in his work, and I am in mine. And all the great leaders of tomorrow, and I'm not saying I'm going to be a great leader or are, but I do have that mindset. All the great leaders of tomorrow and today are focused on the convergence. It's not just one industry. Industries are being wiped out from the left and the right, blindsided they've never seen before. AI, robotics, nanotechnology, space, blockchain, Internet of Things, all these things are converging. That's why all the FANG stocks like Facebook, Apple, Netflix, they're all encroaching on each other's territory, like hardware, software, cloud. These are all converging. So you can't just be an expert in one thing. So Peter Diamandis had a company, and he talked about it in one of his podcasts. So this is from memory. If the numbers are a little bit off, the concept is still the same, accurate. So he raised, I think he said $40 million from leading VCs to do asteroid mining, but it was ahead of its time, and it was more capital intensive than that. I think he said it would take a few $100 million. He wants to raise that first, and a SPAC is a good way to do that. Now, Chamath has already. And there's other companies that are getting into asteroid mining first. I mean, in investing, so many great ideas come around again. Like NASDAQ crashed, and all those ideas that crashed, in 2000 have come around again. When you have more broadband, when you have, cloud computing, it allows you to do the things that you couldn't do before. So asteroid mining is a reality. And I focus a lot on this podcast in space. And a lot of these issues are going to be in future podcasts as well. So Chamath already has three leading SPACs. He took Virgin Galactic, which is obviously a huge space company, public through a SPAC. He did Clover Health. And he's got three altogether. I think he's got three more planned that he's set up the framework for already. So he really should, if he wants to, team up with Peter and myself and do Planetary Resources 2.0. Let me just talk a little bit about that, both in terms of the concept and the personnel. So first, the personnel. I believe that the best in the world always find each other. Like, my motto has always been, don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where it's going, the famous Wayne Gretzky saying, because it's kind of like China. Like, China is the leader in online payments. That's because they went right past traditional. They went right past traditional and went right into mobile payments, and so people are just acclimated to that. I mean, Africa is going to be big in mobile payments also. So what happens is sometimes if you're not tied to that's why my company e-commerce Exponentials is able to have a lot of advances, innovation, because we're not tied to the legacy systems of doing it, a certain way, being tied to text, being tied to push technology when you have to do advertising and loyalty programs and things like that. I mean, that's another discussion for another day. We're focused on pull technology where your customers actually come to you with no advertising and no loyalty programs, just based upon inherent interest and user controlled content and navigation and data rewards and things of that nature. But I mean, that's a side thing. In terms of the SPAC, so Chamath is an incredibly innovative guy, as is Peter. When he was at Facebook, he did quite a bit of innovation, so that's a topic to itself. When he was at Social Capital, and Chamath has the mindset. Like he talks about a lot mastering his own psychology, and that is the key, because most people get in their own way, either by having self-limiting beliefs or by having, self-destructive behaviors. Like they let their emotions get carried away, or they don't make rational investment decisions because of emotions or because of mindset, or they win, but they win too small. It doesn't matter if you achieve all your goals if your goals are small, because, that still hasn't amounted to much. It's like they say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And, you might climb the mountain and say, wow, I climbed the mountain. And then it turns out it's the wrong mountain. It's not really where you want to be. And a lot of people, that's why self-awareness is critical to success. And both Peter Diamandis, myself, and Chamath, like we've spent our whole career focused on self-awareness and mindset. I mean, my books, which a lot of people have said is great reviews, like the Napoleon Hill of today, as he famously said, as you think, so you are. I mean, even the Bible says, so within, so without. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. Now, it's also true that success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. So, the idea is meaningless unless the execution is there. But Peter Thiel says, what do you believe that's right that nobody else believes? And that is the key. It's not just to be contrarian, it's to be contrarian and be correct. So space, everybody agrees now, Bezos, Musk, and quite a few other companies I've been talking about. But what we need really is we need, like Astra is doing, we need like not only a space highway, but we need like a 50 and 100 and a 500-year plan of what it's going to be like, colonizing the solar system. What's the communication going to be like? What's the energy going to be like? What's the space travel going to be like? What's the governance going to be like? We need to do that, first, on Mars and on the moon, and then, whether it be Europa or Ceres or the asteroid belt or Pluto or Venus. And I've talked a lot about in other podcasts. And I recommend Isaac Arthur. Like, if you just want to understand space and where we're going in space, he's an effing genius. I'm not cursing. I'm just saying the letter because he's incredible. So Chamath and Peter and I mean, obviously we haven't done anything, but I think we will. And I think Planetary Resources, it was an idea before whose time has come. But, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they say the next trillionaire. Bill Gates, I think, said the next trillionaire is going to be in climate change, I think he said. And Jeff Bezos says it's going to be in artificial intelligence. Just how, it used to take decades for products to take hold, the steam engine or the airplane. Now it just takes a single amount of years or less. New cell phones come out every year. Some of them are just incremental, but, Instagram was sold for $1 billion after just 2 years. And Uber came out to $60 billion valuation just 7 years. So, some of these asteroids are worth more than almost the global economy. Some of them are worth not just trillions, but quadrillions of dollars potentially. Obviously the markets might crash with all these precious metals, but just the magnitude of this is just mind-blowing. When we're colonizing the solar system and the galaxy, and we become a Kardashev type 2 or 3 civilization. Type 1 is when you can harness all the energy of your planet. Type 2 is when you can harness all the energy of your solar system. So that would be maybe a Dyson sphere on the sun. Type 3 is when you can harness all the energy of your galaxy. So these become exponential. How the amount of information that's present is in the last 10 years is more than the amount of all of the millions of years of history, or the hundreds of thousands of years of humans anyway. So what happens is because of accelerating returns and rate curves, while the amount of money that's going to be made in progress and colonization and just information and also context, which is important, in the next 10 years is probably as much as the previous 1,000. So when it comes to space and SPACs and Peter Diamandis and Chamath and I, that's definitely something that I'm considering.